everyone, so I'm back again with another video. This time around I have some more recent pickups to share with you guys. I have a bunch of stuff here, ranging from movies to video games and some toys as well, and a couple of other things in between. So just let's get to it since there's so much here to go through. So first up, not that big of a thing to show, but it was an amazing deal. The Salvation Army that I usually go to, sometimes they get just overstock or stock from stores that have gone out of business. This here was an amazing find to get just because of its practicality. 20 Duracell batteries for $5, still in a sealed brand new package, so that was a great deal. Could really use 20 batteries, especially AA's. They had a whole bunch of other batteries as well, so I might go back and get some D's, C's, and a couple of AA's, but the AA's they had were in much smaller packs. But they had just any type of battery you could need, tons of them, all Duracell, all different kinds of Duracell. And these ones should still be good for some time. It says that there's 10-year, that they can be 10 years in storage and still work, so hopefully those work just fine. Have not had a chance to use any of them yet, so don't know yet, but considering it's a brand new pack, it should work just fine. I spent way too much time on those batteries, but it was just such a good deal to get them for $5 when they're usually way more expensive than that. Moving on, I got some DVDs here, some TV shows and some movies, some horror and some other stuff as well. First up, I went to the same Salvation Army where I got those batteries, but on a separate day, I got the final season of Queer as Folk. Now, this show here, I watched it when I was a kid, and it was very inappropriate that I watched it as a kid, but it was a show that I definitely liked watching back then, and it was $6.99 for that, just there on the back. And then another day, I went to a video game store called Gamerama, and I don't know why I forgot the name of their store. I've been there a million times. They also have a fairly decent selection of DVDs and Blu-rays as well, and I found this here. The only season I was missing from this series, season 4 of Queer as Folk as well, and that one was $10, just right there. A lot of their stuff is decently priced at that store, especially when it comes to movies and TV shows. Usually box sets won't be more than like $20, $30 at the most. Definitely it's a lot more for uncommon stuff, but for a lot of just like regular TV shows, they're going to be in the like $10 range. And they have tons and tons of movies there as well. Now the other two DVDs I want to show you guys, they're both movies. I got them from a recent trip to BMV. I went to BMV to just pick up a couple of new comics. Those are going to be in another video though. I saw these here. One is a PAL region DVD, but I can still play this no problem. So, like, I saw it. It's a movie that I've wanted to have on DVD for some time, but I constantly just can't find this, and I really wanted it. So when I saw it, even though it's a PAL version, $5, not that much to pay for it, but still great deal. It's The Wizard of Gore, and this one here says DVD World Limited Edition. Don't know why, but it's just a classic horror movie that I've liked in the past. I'm not the biggest fan of this movie, but I really wanted to see it again because it's been a couple of years since I saw this movie in its entirety. So very happy to finally own a copy of it. And the other movie that I got this while I was actually paying for other stuff that I had purchased. This was a sort of last second buy, and honestly, it's one of these Stephen King made-for-TV movies that most people are completely unaware of, but I had seen this several times when I was younger, and the last time I saw it was about I want to say at the very least it was 5 to 6 years ago, but it might be even up to 10 years ago at this point because my memory is just terrible. Really loved seeing this, but again, most people are completely unaware that this is even a thing. It's Stephen King's The Langoliers. If you haven't seen this, it's basically everybody goes missing, and there's this group of people on an airplane that have to try to figure out what the hell happened. And then once they, actually, I shouldn't probably give away too much about it, but it's a pretty good movie. Just if you find it, I highly recommend it. Moving on, I suppose I'll show this next. I also found this at the BMV. They used to have tons of video game guidebooks, but over the last few years there have been fewer and fewer of them, and usually whatever does come in is just like some generic like Call of Duty kind of guidebook that I have very little interest in. But this one here definitely is one that I wanted to get. It is an official Nintendo product as well, licensed product. It is the official Prima guidebook for The Legend of Zelda: Link Between Worlds. They also had another one for Mario and Luigi Bowser's Inside Story, if I remember correctly. I always mess up the names of the Mario and Luigi games, but it was one of the Mario Luigi games, and it was a smaller book, pretty nice. But they were $6.99 each, and it was a little much considering that I had spent a whole bunch of money on other stuff that day. So I ended up just grabbing this one. I might go back and see if they have the other one still, but most likely it'll be gone. Moving on, I went to go on and drop a couple things, so let me just pick that up first. I went to a Value Village that I don't usually go to because it's pretty out of the way. At this Value Village, they rarely have anything, but I was crossing by there, so I thought I'd go in and take a look. They had a couple of interesting toys in a bag, but there was a whole bunch of stuff that I just didn't care for, so I just dropped it off right away into the donation bin there. So the rest of the stuff is in here. Let's go ahead and see what was left out of that bag. First up is this little Dalek. I have no idea what it is actually from. I'm trying to figure that out myself. It does say 1963 on the bottom of it, but I don't know anything about that. It is kind of cracked. You can see right there on the top it's cracked, and it's missing another appendage there as well. And it has like a cap, like a rubber cap in the bottom of it. I have no idea what that might be about, but that's it there. I didn't really buy this bag of stuff for that. It just happened to be in there. There was also a TARDIS I saw in another bag, so maybe I should have grabbed the other one too, but it was $4 for that other bag, and all it had inside was the TARDIS. Everything else was just kind of pointless to me. The next two items that we had in there was this figure here of Kiba and Akamaru. I have a terrible time remembering Naruto character names. Let's just deal with the glare there first. That's him. Not the best detailed figure at all, really. And I don't seem to see any markings on him that would say if he is official or not, but still seemed kind of interesting. And there was also a Rock Lee figure that is actually much better. Like, just look at his face alone is definitely better than Kiba's face. Here, you can see it is not that good at all, and his hair is just a complete mess. But the main reason why I grabbed it is because of this here. It is another Gundam figure. I have a couple other ones in this scale. In fact, I just have the same one twice in the same scale. I have no idea what set it's from exactly, or like what the deal is with these, but it is Gundam SD. It is missing just a few tiny pieces here or there, but for the most part looks pretty acceptable. That's him right there. Sorry about the glare. And yeah, he just seemed kind of interesting, so I went ahead and grabbed this bag of stuff. Considering the other stuff that was in there as well, I thought for a couple dollars, I think it ended up being $4.50 with tax, I went ahead and grabbed them anyways. Moving on, I went to Dollarama and I saw that they had more of the Minecraft toys. Now, I don't know 100% if these are the official ones. I can only believe that they are the official ones, considering what's printed on the back and the quality of the packaging itself and the quality of the toys. I already have the Diamond Armor Steve that is in this set. There's also a Iron Golem and a regular Overworld Steve with a cold block, but I'm not too familiar with what else is supposed to be in this set. I'm assuming that there's probably an Enderman and a zombie as well, considering what's on the back of it there. But these seem to be pretty well put together, and I definitely had my moment with Minecraft. I do think that at some point I will get back to it again, but for the time being I'm kind of just over Minecraft. But I do like watching certain people's Minecraft videos on YouTube, especially Let's Plays from the Achievement Hunter group from Rooster Teeth. I do like watching their videos as well. Sorry, my mind sort of just went somewhere else there. But it is a pretty nice toy. Let's just go ahead, open it up, and see what it looks like, if it's as good as the Diamond Armor Steve there. So first up is the TNT block that is pretty decently made. Then you also get the gunpowder that the creeper drops, which is a nice little addition there. And then the creeper figure itself with, okay, so the head doesn't move whatsoever, but the legs do move, so that is a plus. And they all move independently, and the joints don't look too great. They look like they could just snap off at any point, but they look like they could be put back together again pretty easily. But that's it right there, and it is a pretty nice figure, if not a little top heavy. Still pretty decently made, so definitely would enjoy that. And in the scale of the other figures, I suppose the height of the creeper does make sense. So let's just put those off to the side and move on to the final two items that I want to show you guys. I got these in a recent trade with someone off of Kijiji. This guy was coming in all the way from Hamilton. It took him about an hour and a half to drive over here because there was also a bunch of traffic. But we did this trade. I had the case and manual for Shining Force CD on the Sega CD, and I had been trying to find just the disc on its own, but the disc on its own is still impossibly expensive, at least for me. And considering that I still don't have a working Sega CD, there's no point in me holding on to it any longer. Even the Sega CD games that I have are just sort of placed behind my Sega Saturn games right over there, so they're kind of just out of the way. So I didn't really have a need for it, and this guy contacted me telling me that he had just the discs and he was looking to get the case to complete it. I had it originally up for sale, but he wasn't able to purchase it outright, so we did a trade instead. I ended up trading him 2 games, one complete in box Super Nintendo game and one loose cartridge NES game. NES game is a classic, but one that I have been unable to locate locally for a decent price. This copy here is in very good condition and the label is immaculate. Definitely a pretty nice one. It is a copy of Metroid, and I'm really happy to finally own a copy of that. The other game that I got is complete in box, like I said, Super Nintendo game. Nothing too amazing, but still a pretty fun game. Very happy to have it. It's X-Men Mutant Apocalypse, and the box is dinged up, but oh well. At the end of the day, I paid, I think it was around $18 for the case and manual, and just to get Metroid alone, Metroid here is like overpriced, so that alone would have been a good deal, but to get this as well in any condition is still pretty decent. The manual is included as well, and it has character profiles, which is pretty nice. You don't get too many full color manuals these days, so it's nice to see these older ones and see how well put together they were. And that's it right there. The holder, like the tray for the game, was included as well, which is pretty nice. Now, the condition of the contacts themselves are pretty good here, but the label is definitely pretty worn out, so that kind of sucks a little bit, but I knew what condition this was in when I made the deal, so still okay with that. So I think it was a pretty decent deal to get out of it. I had no need any longer for that case. It was just a case and the manual, even though it was a pretty hard game to find for the Sega CD, and the case and manual are also pretty hard to find. I'm not really going to be going for a Sega CD collection anytime soon, considering how difficult it is to collect for it, at least here in Toronto. So to get an NES game I've been looking for some time, and a pretty nice Super Nintendo game as well, complete in box, I thought, sure, I'll go for that deal. And I think that brings us to the end of this set of recent pickups. As always, leave comments in the comment section below. Anything you'd like to say, comments, questions, suggestions, ideas, anything at all, and I will get back to you as soon as I possibly can. Check out my Facebook, Twitter, and website. They're all linked in the description below. And also linked in the description below is a link to my 500 subscribers contest. Check that out as well if you'd like. And that's it. See ya.